Hey, so wanted to make a video, a series actually, called The Breakdown, where I look at a couple videos. It's kind of like reaction videos, but a red pill breakdown. I'm not sure what I'm going to label it. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the red pill terminology, but I might just do that, and that's good for clicks or whatever. But this was inspired by me listening to my new my Sonos speakers that I got set up, and I was listening to the SEA SZA Control album, and I'll break that down. That'll be later on in the series, probably the next video. But that really got me thinking, and I started to talk to some of the guys in this space, and I said, you know what? I need to make something on this. It's an open source idea. Anyone can go ahead and do this or use this premise and really start to look at what we do on a regular basis, what we listen to, and how that influences our relationships, how that influences our relationships to our detriment in most cases, how our media and especially our music is hypnotic. I will be doing this from a red pill male standpoint. If women want to do it from a female standpoint, in terms of looking at men and the music that we listen to, go ahead. There's going to be a lot of content to that. Or to that point where men are being hypnotized in making some of the decisions that they make in terms of their mating choices and so on and so forth. So that's just not something where it's like it's a one-sided thing. This happens to both sides, and that's just not me being fair and balanced or anything like that. That's just being realistic. I mean, we're really molded quite a bit by the things that we listen to and the media that we consume. So this video, fair use, I'll be going through this. This is from the School of Life channel. Has quite a big subscribership. And this video is why you will marry the wrong person. I wanted to do this video first instead of like, breaking down the SZA song. I always want to say SCA, but SZA, breaking down the SZA song because um, this kind of lays a groundwork, a premise for the rest of the series. And I think it's a great video, and you all should watch it all the way through. I will be cutting this video up, so there will be some editing and things like that to cut down on things to get to the point in some cases. But I won't do this whole full video. I'll get pieces of it just so we can get like the meat of all of this. And it helps form my argument or helps to strengthen my argument. But I want you all to go ahead and watch this video. I should put a link in the description. Hopefully I remember, but I'm usually pretty good with that. I'll put a link in the description so that you guys can go ahead and watch this. But you already know, this is the School of Life channel, and this is the video why you will marry the wrong person. 3 million views. This is back in 2017, so it's a really good video, and it's crazy because this is in 2017. That's the same year that SZA album came out, and that was kind of like the same year that I kind of got into the space. Actually, I got into the space before that. I got into space probably around 2015 is when I got into like red pill MGTOW space, red pill raging and stuff like that. So, and it was like 2017 when I kind of got into the black manosphere. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this. This guy's really funny, by the way. Not just dry comedy, but it makes it more palatable and easier to digest. So definitely a good video and very entertaining. All my friends that watched this video, they were very impressed, and they actually, I think they said that it made them think a little bit.
Person, which went under a rather dramatic heading. It was called Why You Will Marry the Wrong Person. And perhaps we can just begin, we're among friends, by just asking how many of you in the room do feel, on balance, that you have married the wrong person? I mean, we're among friends.
Notice the laughter. So it's a joke, but it's a bit of uncomfortable laughter and allows people, it brings their guard down and allows them to be a little bit more honest and also be more accepting of what he's actually trying to say. Really great way of doing that. And I also do that as well when it comes to doing anything in terms of like talking with people about hard subjects. I also use a lot of vulgarity when talking to people about hard subjects, such as my last video, "Fuck them kids." And then also I do make a lot of references to like vulgar things, even in sex, and that really brings home the point of the point that I'm trying to make. So he does a really good job of this.
Any, yeah, a lady, that couple of people, like 5, 10, I'd say 30 people in the room, and so we always have to triple that. So
Right? See,
there's a pretty
triple one.
hefty majority. But I'm here to give counsel and to give consolation for this situation. You know, there's a lot of anger around our love lives, privately held.
Right. So, and that's very important. He talks about the anger that we all have with our love lives, and it's mainly because we didn't get, quote unquote, get what we want. We're being those that child that's not satisfied because we didn't get the toy that we wanted. Their mom didn't buy the candy that we wanted. They didn't make the stop at McDonald's, and things like that on the way home. They did everything except for what you actually wanted them to, and you have that anger because that person didn't do what you expected them to. And you see this even with black women, especially, where they if you don't bend to their will, then you are seen as an antagonist, a person that's an enemy, and that forms or evolves or devolves into you're an ancient person, you're an ancient nigga, and things like that. So you see that quite a bit, and that's kind of what we're dealing with, and that's the anger that he talks about. And he does has some really great gems in here, and hopefully I can get through this video without or get through this video and make this decent what's it called video for you guys.
But a lot of us go around feeling quite enraged, angry privately about the way that our love lives have gone. My task today is to turn that anger into sadness. We will have made psychological progress. And this is the task today. What lies behind rage very often is an...
He's going to make an excellent point here. I want you to listen. Let me get back. It's a great
And
point.
this is the task today. What lies behind rage very often is an unusual quality, because we tend to think that very angry people are sort of dark and pessimistic characters. Absolutely not. Scratch the surface of any regularly angry person and you will find a wild optimist.
Mm-hmm.
It is in fact hope that drives rage. Think of the person who screams every time they can't find their house keys or every time they get stuck in traffic. These unfortunate characters are evincing a curious but reckless faith in a world in which keys never go astray, the roads are mysteriously traffic-free. It is hope that is turbocharging their rage.
So what he's pretty much saying is the rage that a lot of people have is mainly from the fact that they're such optimists in terms of their outlook that they're frustrated and mad that their outlook is not coming to fruition. It's not being realized. It's not being shown into reality or anything else like that. It doesn't show up in an everyday in a what's it called on a everyday basis. So a lot of men, and we see this in the red pill community or MGTOW community, where men are red pill raging, and it's mainly because, oh my God, the Disney fantasy did not come true for me. I didn't have the white picket fence with a dog and 2 to 3 kids, and everybody's going to school, and I'm just going to work, and my wife is loyal to me. She may be going to work, or she's actually a stay-at-home mom. No, it turns out to be where, she probably falls out of love with me. She doesn't want to fulfill any of her duties anymore. I might not be the person that she wants to be with in terms of my ambition, in terms of my work ethic or anything else like that. So these Disney fantasies that we hold on both sides of, of the relationship, we're seeing it being destroyed by quote unquote reality. And then it's actually horrible because it's like, okay, how did these Disney fantasies get into our head? And he'll actually talk about that. It's really a really good point that he makes that I didn't know about with Walt Disney.
If we're to get a little, we will have, there are vast industries designed to inflate our expectations of love. There was a wonderful quote from the German philosopher Theodor Adorno, who in the 1960s said that the most dangerous man in America was Walt Disney. And the reason for his attack on Walt was because he believed that Walt was the prime agent of hope, and therefore of rage, and therefore of bitterness. And he thought that it was the task of philosophy to let us down gently, which is what I'm going to be.
So he makes a great point, and it goes into the Walt Disney fantasy, which I was introduced to by I think BGS and quite a few other people. I want to say BGS a little bit. I'll give it to BGS, but I've probably heard it in other places as well. But it's the fantasy that we're given, that we're shown, the seventh heaven, the quote unquote Dawson's Creek, even movies like or movies and books like Twilight, or even Buffy the Vampire Slayer, even though it got like really crazy later on. But like the love stories that are in those, the tropes that are in those, the bad boy vampire that are in those, uh, that at the end of it, it turns out to be, oh, okay, I changed him, and things like that. So it's or the this everything is like I just meet the right person. We have a great life. Nothing happens. There's no cancer. There's no this. There's no that. I meet the boy that I love. Boy meets girl. Girl, falls in love with boy, and they have children together, and we walk off into the sunset. He's talking about this. I think it's a German philosopher. He said this German philosopher said that the Walt Disney fantasy that was being peddled to the children, and still is to this day. That fantasy actually promotes a lot of bitterness and anger in people. And it starts to incite different bouts of rage and or fits of rage and things like that. And he said that was extremely dangerous. And we're starting to see the effects of it, or the after effects of it, now with high divorce rates, out of wedlock birth rates raising in all races, and in just in Western society in general. Shout out to BGS on that one for sure. But yeah, that's a great, amazing critique or amazing point to strengthen his own paper.
Doing today. So remember the theme of the talk, why you will marry the wrong person. There are a number of reasons why this is going to happen to you, or has maybe already in the privacy of your heart happened to you.
Mm.
I should say that it's not that bad. And the reason is that all of us will not manage to find the right person, but we will probably all of us manage to find a good enough person. So, and that's
So people laugh about this. Again, it's just it's brought it's put off, or sorry, it's expressed in a joking or sarcastic manner, but really it talks about, uh, to quote Thomas Sowell or paraphrase Thomas Sowell, life is about trade-offs, compromises and things like that. So a good enough person. This goes into Kevin Samuels, where he talks about average is best. What's wrong with an average person? Why can't you actually go ahead and live an average life? What's so bad about living an average life? Why do you want more? Do you need more? I mean, even Kevin Samuels talks about, needing 100K to raise a family of four, or more than 100K to raise a family of four. And it's just like, well, why do you even need that much? Did my parents have to make that much? And again, they lived in a different era. They bought their house at a different time, blah, blah, blah. So it's like I never known what my dad has made. He's been a carpenter literally all his life. And way before I was even born. I think he's been a carpenter since he was 15, and he's 69. My mom worked for DCF at one point in Florida, and she also worked at a Burger King, and she worked nights or weekends, I should say, taking care of an old man, an elderly man. So it's like I look at all these things, and it's just like these people need all of this money to raise kids, and my parents did it, and they worked their asses off to do it, but I don't think they had 100K. I don't think they were making 100K, especially in South Florida. It's like I just don't see them making it, with my mom working at McDonald's, no, at Burger King at the time, and and people that live in Plantation, Florida, know about the Burger King on the other side of 595 that used to be there, and it used to be next to the old strip club Eden. But that was like the Davie side. So yeah, I'm sure people know about that, or real people know. Have been in that area for a while. But we're 2 minutes into this video, and it's just like there's so much into it. Um, I'll probably skip around a little bit more, and then I want you guys to definitely watch this video all the way through. It's 22 minutes. I cannot break this whole thing down in one video. I mean, that whole like his 22-minute video and everything that he said in there, I'd be stopping it every 2 seconds as I have been, and it would turn into maybe a 2 hour video of me just analyzing from a red pill standpoint. But we're seeing how he's looking at these things and looking at these things that we have dealt with in our childhoods, the things that we've dealt with on a regular basis, even in our adult lives, in our relationships and things like that, where he's like, a lot of this stuff is mainly because of these stereotypes, these things that have been put in place and put into our heads by media, and we see it as the truth and facts, when in actuality, these are new things. These are things that are not based in reality, and really, we should be looking to get good enough in a sense, and that's kind of the overarching thing here.
Success, as you will come to see. One of the reasons why we're not going to be able to pull this one off as successfully as we might have hoped at the outset of probably our teenagehood, when we were contemplating love, is that we are very strange. I'm very strange and you're very strange. You don't let on, and we're not going to do anything very dangerous, but we are basically psychologically quite strange. We don't normally know very much about this strangeness. It takes us
So what he's talking about is the difference between people. If I was to put into manosphere terms or black manosphere terms, it would be, you know, Edward Anderson would say game goofy, or socially awkward. We're very strange people. We have things that we would never tell our partners, our significant others, people that we actually have sex with on a regular basis. In a man's case, people that we actually insert our penis into. We will not say. There's certain things we won't say. There's certain things that are just deep and dark that we won't say to that person. Maybe we say it to another person, or we say it on forums, but we express ourselves in different ways where we actually put that information out. Where it's like, uh, there's the person that's like if you watch like the old HBO specials where these people had these horse fetishes and stuff like that, where they thought they were ponies and stuff, and that's how they express themselves. But if it wasn't for like HBO and things like that, you would never see anything like that. And it's surprising that some of those people would show their face, and some people didn't. They put masks over their face and stuff like that because they live quote unquote regular lives and they have their own secrets. So this is going into, and that's the extreme when he's talking about we are very strange people, and we have to understand uh, we're we're talking with another strange person that puts themselves off as normal. Like there's some things about me where I'm like, yo, listen, I don't even like talking to myself about, because it's just kind of like, oh, that's crazy. But in terms of animus integration, or sorry, the Jungian psychology, integrating the shadow or knowing the shadow and integrating into yourself, it's not good to hide those things. So I talk to myself about it, but I won't per se talk to anybody else about it.
long, long time before we're really on top of the way to live. I know I know that you're not easy to live with. And the reason is that you are Homo sapiens, and therefore you are not easy to live with. No one is.
Right. So essentially, he's talking about like, we're not easy to live with, but we're complex. We're simple individuals in a complex system, or we're complex individuals that make complex systems and then also add other abstraction layers on top of those complex systems to quote unquote make them simpler. But underneath it, underneath those simplification mechanisms, there's really complex code, procedures, policies, thought processes, ideologies, so on and so forth, that we all share and we all, in a sense, indulge ourselves in or partake in or, are a part of.
Um, but there's a wall of silence that surrounds us from a deeper acquaintance with what is actually so difficult about us. Our friends don't want to tell us, why would they bother? They just want a pleasant evening out.
Right. So he talks about, hey, our friend. We're only 4 minutes into this video, and I've skipped around a little bit, but uh, he talks about the friends not telling you that you're a weird fuck. It's just like, because they're your friends, they love you. But then there's somebody that meets you for the first time for 10 minutes and they can totally dissect everything about you, or they come with receipts, or they read you to filth, or something like that. And it's like, I got that from like It's a Gundam, where he quotes like a lot of these like it's funny stuff. It's in terms of this commentary, but they read you up and down, and they start to see, they start to tell you about they tell you stuff that nobody else would, because they're not your friend, they're not emotionally involved with you, they have no any type of ties to you at all. They're just a random person that you met, and then somehow, some way, you get into a conversation with them, and they're like, "You're a freaking idiot," and you're like, "But all my friends tell me I'm smart," and it's just like, yeah, they're lying to you. It's like it's stuff like that. You have that back and forth. So it's just crazy when he's talking about this stuff. Let me see if I can just skip
They're
ahead
not,
to.
you pretend you don't. When you feel most vulnerable, you say, I'm quite busy.
Mm,
And it tends to apply to people who are in this room. In other words, A-types, very outgoing
this is the
types,
last
strivers.
thing I want to talk
You
about here.
become, in relationships, tell me if I'm wrong, you become what is known as avoidant, which
Hmm.
means that when you need someone, it's precisely at that moment that you pretend you don't. When you
Mm.
feel most vulnerable, you say, I'm quite busy at the moment, and I'm
How many times have you been in a relationship with someone and you talk to them and you said, "Hey, listen, I, y- sorry, you say to yourself, I really want to be around this person." So maybe you call them or something like that. But then the person does something to um, mess with that trust, uh, mess with that feeling, that vulnerability that you're actually expressing to them. And they say, "Come on, man, why you keep calling me, bro?" And you're like, and then, and then the woman's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you act like that. Why you being like that? Blah blah blah," and starts going off. And you're like, "Yo," and then for me, sometimes I'll do that to women, and I'll just be joking. But I never understood, especially with this video, it really crystallized it and brought a lot of things into the forefront of my mind here from my consciousness. And I was just like, holy crap, this person really, quote unquote, wanted to be with me right then and there. They wanted to talk to me. They wanted to actually be around me. These are the things that when you're, quote unquote, alone and you're by yourself and there's nobody else around and it's just you and your thoughts in a dark room and you're looking up at the ceiling, that you wish you would have done differently. That you could have been around this person or this person could still be around, blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, it's kind of amazing what he's doing here. So this will be the last thing, and then I'll end this video for now. And I want you guys to go ahead and watch the rest of this, or watch it in its entirety.
fine, thanks. I'm busy today. In other words, you don't reveal the need for another person, which sets them off into a chain of wondering whether you are to be trusted, and there's then a cycle of low trust. So
And it's not just a cycle of trust or lack of trust. It comes to be a cycle of lack of desire, lack of being wanted or needed by that person. Um, no matter what, even if you're at a job and you're getting paid, there's very few people that say, "Hey, listen, just pay me. I don't care about anything else." Where in most cases, people actually want to be wanted by their employer. They will actually stay at a job that is paying them low by industry standards, that is mistreating them in some cases in terms of the amount of hours that they have. But they feel so wanted by their colleagues, the team, the company, maybe the CEO, or maybe just that one person. They feel so wanted, and they feel they have such a such a accepting and or sorry, comfortable environment that accepts them, that they want to stay with that company for long periods of time, even though they could even be physically offered more money going somewhere else. And this is kind of like this is what we see here. It's like, this is what happens even in relationships, where even if that person that you're in a relationship with mistreats you, there's those times where they actually show that they want you, and then that makes you stay. These are the toxic relationships that women will talk about often, where they'll say, "Hey, listen, it's a toxic relationship," but they stayed for 9 years and had 2 to 3 kids with the guy. And it's just like, that wasn't a toxic relationship. Somehow, some way, you liked that. You liked every bit of it. You felt wanted. You felt needed, and you felt fulfilled in some capacity. Now, there's some other areas where you just didn't get that, and you start to look for that in other places. This is why you have the work husband. This is why you have that guy that you can uh they have this guy that the woman can actually always talk to. I used to work in a liquor store, and you would be surprised the amount of people will come in and actually have full-on conversations with you. And be there for, like, they come in for a bottle of vodka or something like that, and they're there for an hour, 2 hours, having conversations, or back and forth, and you're outside with them. My friend owns a liquor store, Harp's Discount Liquor in South Florida off of Sunset Strip, and I used to work at his dad's liquor store. It was actually around the corner on Sunrise Boulevard, because Sunset Strip and Sunrise like intersect. But I used to work at City Liquors, is what that other place is called. And I used to work at City Liquors, and I'd be surprised the amount of people come in. It was even more surprising that I would go around the corner to my friend's liquor store, and those same people that would come in talk to me, they would actually go around and talk to him, the son, at his liquor store, which is, less than 2 miles away. Like, you could walk from one store to the next with like a full case of Johnny Walker and not really be that tired. Oh, okay, maybe you would, because you probably should use your shopping cart, but not even 2 miles away or something like that, in terms of the liquor store. And then with Harp, what he would actually do is he would actually go outside and he would smoke cigarettes or throw away the boxes, and he'd have full on conversations with the people that came up and stuff like that, and some of his regular customers and stuff like that. And this is a guy that has bulletproof glass and everything like that. He still makes himself accessible and vulnerable to these people, and he starts talking to them. So it's kind of crazy what happens, like, these dynamics, where people, we go through these things. All right, let me finish this.
So we get into these patterns of not daring to do the thing that we really need to do, which is to say, even though I'm a grown person, maybe I've got a beard, maybe I've been alive for a long time, I'm 6'2", etc., I'm actually a small child inside, and I
Mm,
need you, like a small child would
mm-hmm.
need its parent. This is so humbling that most of us refuse to make that step, and therefore refuse the challenge of love.
Right. So I'll end it with that. That is such a great statement, and it really shows that inside of all of us, we are still childlike in many ways, where we actually want someone. We want somebody that we quote unquote need. We're no longer suckling on our mother's tit for milk and nutrients. We're suckling on the tit of relationships and other people for attention in some way, shape, or form. All right. So that's the first video in this series. Damn, it's almost 30 minutes for this video, but I wanted to give you guys a lot of information. I wanted to give you guys this foundation, if you will, as we go into the next bit, because the next bit is just the seeing the hypnosis of the media that we take in. But it's really better to understand why we do these things on the back end. As always, listen, if you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, then you're low on sodium. Please go ahead and do your research, watch more videos, get more content, enjoy yourself while you're doing this, but also, actually, don't even enjoy yourself. Really take a deep look at yourself and be serious about these things, and see how this has affected you in your own relationships, as you go forward. Also, this disclosure set at Plitvice Lakes National Park in Croatia, by the YouTube channel Circle, that's Cercle, is absolutely amazing. Um, the first song is the first song in the set is like, okay, it's just nature stuff, but the second song, it starts at the 3 minute mark. Oh my God, absolute, like, just chill, lo-fi, still upbeat, like, great music. All right. With that being said, guys, thank you very much for listening, and I hope this helps somebody. Peace.